Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Amy.
So we have some more very special guests on, and this is actually, it's all been very, very cool, but I'm very intrigued with this. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name's Bridget Barley, and I'm from the Jemicy School in Owings Mills, Maryland,
And I'm Rose Heggs. I'm the Director of Community Outreach and Professional Learning at Jemicy School.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your company and what you've created. It's impressive.
Sure. So our school educates students with language-based learning differences. We're first grade through 12th grade. And we're about 53 years old now. And I started as a teacher, and I'm currently the director of the middle school there. And middle school is always my wheelhouse, but we created a writing program called Paragraphology because dyslexia doesn't only affect reading, it affects writing. And just because you can read doesn't mean that you can write. So we were trying to find an approach that worked with our students to really help them be able to get that great information that dyslexics have in our heads out in the written language.
Yeah, for sure. This is a big need. So many people reach out to me wanting more information about this, and it's something I need to work on in my private practice as well.
Yes, it's we find the same thing. Our students, it is, and I find with a lot of people that we even talk to that teach 9th and 10th grade, they say, well, my students can't write. They were supposed to learn that in 3rd grade and they didn't, but we have to move on. And well, you can't really move on and gain traction if you don't teach.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you went out just
I'm so sorry. So we can tell you a little bit about what it is. So when we started teaching writing, my first year at Jemicy, 2005, we were using Diana King, which was great, and she is the godmother of writing, really. But what I found with my students is that it just wasn't enough structure for them, and then the structure was sometimes different, and ours needed the same thing over and over again, that repetition.
Right.
So I started color coding it, which then I said, well, gosh, that's still not enough. What else can we do? And so what I started to do was take index cards. So we had a green index card, 3 yellow index cards, and a red index card for your topic sentence, your 3 supporting sentences, and your conclusion sentence. Your green is your go, your red is your stop. So that helped a little bit, but again, it still wasn't enough. So then we started looking at brainstorming, which I think it really does get thrown to the wayside a lot. And brainstorming is so important in classrooms because it helps get everything out on paper. But for those kids that they're stuck. I don't have an idea. I don't know what to write about. If you do a brainstorm, they're going to get some ideas. They're going to have somewhere to start. So if we were brainstorming, for example, ice cream flavors at the top of our paper or at desks or writing on them, whatever we're doing, we'd write it in green, ice cream flavors. And then we'd brainstorm just 10 different flavors. And I'd tell the students, now your favorite 3, highlight those in yellow. And by that time, they're like, okay, well, my cards are those colors, and now you're making those colors. So it starts to come together that, on that topic sentence, I'm going to have to put the word ice cream flavors because it's green like the card. But I don't know how to start. So on the back, we started putting some sentence starters. So we started very simply with there are many. So there are many ice cream flavors. It's a simple sentence, but it is a sentence, and I wrote a topic sentence. I know what it is. I know its function. And then I get to my first ice cream flavor, and I turn over my yellow card, and I say, okay, I have to write about vanilla. How do I start it? Well, there are some orange transition words. So to begin with, vanilla is an exciting flavor. First, vanilla is a very popular flavor. And then I do it for the other 2 flavors I picked, chocolate and strawberry. I'm going to get to my conclusion sentence on the back. It gives me 2 choices. As you could see, or it should be obvious, and I finish my paragraph. As you can see, there are many flavors of ice cream, but I've written a paragraph. And I have not written it once on an organizer, written it twice, tried to get it out. I've used those cards. They're manipulative, they're tactile, and I've written a paragraph. So one of the things about this is that it really does ease that cognitive workload. It's scaffolded. So that's the first step in the scaffold. But we all know you can't live in a basic paragraph forever. So we have to start expanding that. So we do something called the 10 paragraph challenge, and we say to the students, hey, in 5 days you're going to write 10 paragraphs. And they look at you like you're crazy. But, they start using their cards, and they've written 10 paragraphs in 3 days and in 4 days, and it really is such a confidence booster where they're ready to take some risks with you. They trust you, and they feel just, I've mastered this. I've got this. I did it 2 days earlier than you wanted me to do it. So at that point, we pull out some blue index cards, and they know that means more sentences. But even then, it's funny, sometimes when we're doing that 10-paragraph challenge, they'll say, well, I have more I want to say about vanilla ice cream, and I'll be like, nope, you're not allowed to do it. So kind of even making them want to do more, but nope, you're not allowed to do that yet. And then finally, here are these blue cards. And so the goal is to have a student write 3 blue sentences about each yellow so that their card pack becomes green, yellow, blue, 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 yellow, blue, 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 yellow, blue, 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 red. I've said that before, can you tell? But some students aren't ready to have those 3 blues. Some students just want 1 blue. Some you just put 2. But getting them to now write 2 sentences about vanilla ice cream and 2 sentences about chocolate and 2 sentences about strawberry. But they're ready at that point, and they've written that expanded paragraph, and they feel confident. And we'll have them go into their 10-paragraph challenge, and let's revise now. Let's add blues to as many of these paragraphs as we can. And then we scaffold it again, and we say, all right, well, we're going to get rid of there are many for your topic sentence, and as you can see for that conclusion, and we're going to give you some upper-level topic sentences and some upper-level concluding sentences. So we give them 5 different ways to write a topic sentence. So general remark, quote, question, opposite, and story. And we give them an example with an elephant would make a great pet. So we give them an example of each of those sentences, and we glue it right over top of that. There are many that they have written on that green card. And they can look at that and say, all right, well, my paragraph's not about elephants, but we teach them you can still use that sentence, but let's put your topic in it instead. So it becomes training wheels, and it's the same for the concluding sentence. So we get through all that trauma that comes with that empty page.
That's incredible. That really is, because like Melissa said, I know in my therapy sessions with my students with dyslexia that we get through the reading and they're decoding and they have great fluency and their morphology starts to come along. But man, it's so hard to get that writing piece in and do it well. Their spelling starts to come along, and I've always been looking for something, especially with our older kids, because, in Texas we have dyslexia curricula, and they finish the curricula in X amount of time, but they're still not able to write a basic paragraph. And I think color coding it, like you say, that just kind of lends to it even more to support what they need.
Yeah, it makes a connection for them, and it makes it has a purpose, and it's tangible. It's not this abstract thing that you want me to do now.
Right.
And we found that really, really resonates, not just with students that have language-based learning differences too. It's all students need it. They just need different levels of it.
Right, absolutely.
The visual cues, the multisensory, the layering, the sequential.
Exactly.
All of it is there.
It isn't, and we make sure too, it doesn't just stick to expanded and basic. There are different reasons for writing. We teach to, our reason paragraphs, that's writing to persuade, and we do classification and sequential and compare and contrast, and that teaches them that structure. You just keep going through those paragraph types, and we were telling somebody earlier today that sometimes for middle schoolers, you need some odd topics because they don't want to write about ice cream, but they'll write about uses for belly button lint. It's weird, but they will write about that all day long. Or, cat food tastes so delicious, and they will write about that, because they think it's funny and they want to kind of, have that. And what's great about that is that they almost let down another wall when you do something like that, and humor starts to be infused in it because they think it's funny. And it should be fun. If you're not having fun doing it, someone's not going to have fun reading it. And so you have to show that passion, I think.
And I just want to add on, so when you have those funny topics, which, by the way, I went through all this training before I came to Jemicy, and when people look at it and want to think like, oh, this is just something for Jemicy or for school, they're absolutely wrong. I've been in traditional school settings and tutoring and private practice, and this, the program, the training gives you the material. These fun topics are low-hanging fruit for these kids. And once they feel like, oh my God, I kind of like, that was safe for me to kind of play in and dabble and push myself, and they get the engagement picks up and the motivation, And so it's absolutely wonderful. But it's also not just. I mean, you can have any type of writing curriculum that if you're used to using a writing curriculum, and there's so many coming out right now because now we are all moving into like focusing on writing. This has always been around. This was while everything was going on the outside with different publishers and different reading programs. We were always teaching the science of it and using this multisensory color-coded system. And so when you get into that level of work where you're working on sentences, you can do that with these kids. You can use your writing 2.0. You can use SRSD. You can use other things. You can use the expository text acronyms that your school may want, but all of that can be, our program's flexible enough that any of that can kind of fit in and be infused into this approach. So it's an approach, and it's such a great executive function tool. It's assistive technology. It's an equity product. It's giving access to so many kids to be able to write successfully.
Well,
Okay.
you had mentioned earlier something about the text structures. You could focus in on using the prompts that are text structure based. So
Yes.
compare and contrast.
Absolutely. And what's great about it, too, is that there are different orange transition words for that. And so on our card decks that we create, we do put at the end of it, there's an orange card that says, reason paragraph. And then your transition words that are on there, they're a little bit different. They're going to be, one reason or one way, and it just helps them expand their vocabulary. And what we put on ours and what we show in our trainings, it's not the be all and end all. I mean, gosh, for sequential paragraphs, there's probably 4,000 words that people use before, after, and if you're teaching science and doing a lab report, it might look totally different, so you can utilize what you need for your students. It's that structure, really, that Rose was talking about that works. But then, and once we finish those paragraphs, then you scaffold yourself into it's time to do an essay now, and you've already write paragraphs, you know how to do it, so write 3 now, but we're going to teach you how to do a thesis and plan. And so we get that in, and it's explicit, and we show how to do that, and then it's, all right, well, now it's time for that introductory paragraph and that conclusion paragraph so that you have a 5-paragraph essay, and with that, it's another step, but I want you to write 3 sentences before your thesis and plan, and they should be 3 general remarks or 3 questions or 3 quotes, everything you've already been doing, but let's push it a little further. Let's do 3 now. Let's do 3 for your conclusion, and you've got that 5-paragraph essay. So they're successful, and our students really are some of the strongest writers, I think.
No, I think the confidence that these students, because a lot of kids are carrying a lot of social emotional, a lot of anxiety, writing, academic writing. I mean, let's talk about it. It's not the way they talk. It's not a tweet. It's not a TikTok. It's academic writing. And until we move into like a different kind of like structural system for teaching, expectations, but to get ready for the job world, you do have to kind of understand you're writing for a different audience. But all of that, but if you use a program or have an approach like this, you can lessen that load, that cognitive load. And we talked about that before, but it's so important because if you can get the lower level, thinking mastered in your brain, and it becomes habitual, and it's like you can do it, and you can do it with confidence. That leaves so much room for that deep thinking and all of that. So now she wants you to add a subordinating conjunction. Oh, okay, all right. So now I've got room for that because I've drafted a paragraph, and it's like it's just so uplifting for them.
Okay, I'm all about it. I'm all about this. So where can we get training? How do we get trained?
Sure. So if you visit our website, www.jemicyschool.org, click on, there's a paragraphology tab, and it will take you to Rose's email. And I'm the director of middle school. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. But we have a 10-hour teacher training, and we run it 4 times a year. It is synchronous with one of our instructors who's fabulous. And you get a Google Classroom. It has all of these materials in it that you can just take and use in your classroom. We have workbooks in there. We have the Google organizers in there. And it's recorded, so you can go back. If you delete it by mistake, we'll give it back to you. So that's on our website. And then we also go and do trainings at schools, but we also do virtual trainings for schools from Maryland as well, because sometimes, or that is the one thing we got from COVID, right? You can,
Yep.
you don't have to travel. We can do it from home, but it's interactive, even though it's, distance with virtual, it's very interactive and engaging, and the amount of materials you get, you become an expert in it, and you can utilize it right away. And then there's information too on our website about our app that we created, which is web-based.
Yes.
And that's what's really great for those students that can't look at a blank organizer. They have to have it chunked one piece at a time.
What is that called again?
So we just call it our paragraphology app, really. And it has our color-coded Cornell notes in it. It's got the paragraphs all the way through essays. It's great because it helps with that formatting. Because so many of our kids, they get it all into the organizer. They don't know how to get it out. This gets it out for them, and it also, you're not getting pinged because you forgot to indent.
Yeah.
And eventually that will come together for you, but sometimes you just need that support to tackle that volume of writing.
And that had pre-filled transition words, didn't it?
It did. Like when they get to the yellow sentence, it will remind them what was there in their brainstorm and say, hey, remember you had vanilla ice cream, put that in the sentence, and then you can click on what transition word do you want.
Yeah.
And so
That's so cool.
an expanded paragraph, it's the same as what you see on the cards, but if you're doing compare and contrast, those orange words change for that type of paragraph. So you'll have the, on one hand, on the other hand, those are your options when you get to that type of paragraph as well.
Man,
That's really cool.
that is amazing.
And I want to dial with the training too as well. Yes, for teachers, but also you especially would benefit are your pre-service teachers,
Yeah.
your first teachers who have had, and sadly in many writing or teaching programs in colleges, don't get exposed to kind of like the structured literacy.
Yeah.
And so, they're thrown into a school, they've got like a writing curriculum, but it's still sort of like they need to kind of understand I have a structured approach. And so I always feel like it's also a great first year teacher or pre-service or seasoned teachers who are just tired.
Or your
Yeah.
parents,
Yeah.
that aren't getting maybe the support that they
That's
need, but they
right.
want to help their kid.
Or homeschool.
Yeah.
Homeschool networks are big. Homeschool networks and tutoring clinics. We get so many that join our training.
Yes.
Amazing.
I could see myself joining the training.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we'll welcome
Oh,
you.
for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Love that. Love that. Okay, well, awesome. This has been great. I really appreciate
Thank
y'all
you
coming
for having
on.
us. And
And we're going to have this on YouTube, and you guys are free to share this with whoever.
we will, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye, guys.